Hello, music teacher friends. You are listening to episode number 58 of the Beyond Measure podcast. I am your host and anytime piano teacher friend, Christina Whitlock. So, you are about to embark on the shortest ever episode of this podcast. So, if you have been around here for any amount of time, you know that I like to send you off each week with a toast to you and the great work that you're doing in the world. Well, today, I thought I would simply offer up a toast to the very important task of wrapping up the year 2021. It's probably no surprise to you that I love the art of self-reflection. I think our ability to move forward with our lives in the best possible way, I think that is inextricably tied to our ability to look back and learn from our past experiences. So, today we are going to take a quick pause, and I'm going to ask you to raise your glass, imaginary or otherwise, as I offer up a toast to you. Music teacher friends of the world. Today, we are pausing to celebrate everything we learned in the year 2021. I'm pretty sure we did all learn a thing or two, right? I would encourage you to take a moment today and consider the following question. What do you know now that you didn't know a year ago? What have you learned these past 365 days? Perhaps you have learned where your breaking point is. Maybe you have discovered a new talent that surprised you. Did life throw a curveball at you that you didn't know you could survive? Personally, I think one of my biggest takeaways is, wow, I have ideas that are worth sharing. That sometimes I think I need to keep things to myself because they feel basic in my mind. But it turns out they are not actually that obvious to everyone. Have you learned the same lesson? Because I'm pretty sure it's true for you also. I have learned it's good to dream new dreams. And it's equally okay to let long-time ambitions go. 2021 has reminded me there is no one among us who has life completely figured out. Everyone fails. Everyone gives bad advice from time to time. Everyone struggles with things that you know nothing about. The very moment you start to feel like another human being has all the answers, my friends, it's time for a reality check. So, now I'm asking you, what's new with your teaching this year? Did you pick up some new technological knowledge? Did you learn how to use a new piece of equipment or a new program or a new app? Have you picked up any new philosophies when it comes to your approach with students? I know, for me, I feel more committed than ever to helping my students understand and celebrate their abilities at every level of playing. I talked about that back in episode 23, which is titled Cheers to the Musician You Are Today. But I am so over the idea of setting our students up for discontentment as they focus only on the goals that they are chasing in the future. I mean, goals are great. They're hugely important, in fact. But I want my pianists to recognize the skills that they hold today, right now, this very minute. And that desire is fueling more and more and more of my teaching these days. Did you, by chance, learn a lesson, maybe even the hard way, about communicating with your student families? I personally think the art of communication is the secret to success in all studio teaching. So, how are you better at communicating with your students now than you were a year ago? Did anything break your heart this year or disappoint you? Did you miss an opportunity or find yourself on the receiving end of harsh words from a colleague or someone else? Did anything embarrass you this year? I know those things are not fun to reflect on, but I do think it's important to acknowledge them at least once so we can move on. So, we're going to wrap up here because, after all, I'm sure your arm is getting tired from holding up that glass. But I do hope you will take some time today to reflect on the things this year has taught you. So, with that, I say cheers to you, my multifaceted music teacher friends. Hear, hear. Thank you for listening to today's extended toast. 2021 possibly hasn't been your favorite year of all time, but I do think there has been good in the midst of all the weirdness we've experienced. This week is an excellent opportunity to mark those good things. Notice what has worked and what hasn't so that you can move onwards and upwards into the new year. So I'll be back on Monday with another extended toast, looking forward to the new year. But in the meantime, don't be shy. Come be friends with me on Instagram and Facebook. You can find me there at Beyond Measure Podcast. Let's talk soon, teacher friends. Cheers to a safe and healthy New Year celebration this week.